Yes, hello everyone. Welcome to episode 12 of the Red Bull Project with me, Ringo8781 Gaming. We are on the 1st of January 2026. We're a bit far in the future now. We've played half of the season, and you'll see we are sitting rosy at the top of the Zweiliga. We basically, from the third game week, have been pretty much top spot the entire way. But there's been a bit of a blip. It comes after the patch that came out yesterday. That has really put a dampener on the team. You'll see in the fixtures, the last couple of fixtures there, we lost to Ingolstadt, we drew to Wiesbaden, and you see, just a couple of blips, considering we had literally won pretty much every game up until that point. But it is what it is. It's something I'm going to have to look at separately and try and determine what it is, and I'll use the data hub for that. But why has this just changed? League table. That goes to player stats, because that's what I want to talk to you all about. That goes to team stats. That goes to manager performance. That one goes to finances. No, we don't want to automatically override custom panels at all. Cool. Okay. Sorted. Back to the video. So yeah, you'll see there's a few interesting things in and around there. You see Derek Papelka as absolutely flying as the top goal scorer in the league. He has got 13 goals so far this season with an average rating of 7.48. And before we delve in to his statistical data too much, we're just going to look at him on the base of it. Can we see his overall changes? Am I being silly now? What a great start to the video, Matt. There we go. Yeah, show recent. Okay, so he's not had any recent attribute changes. But basically, we've been playing him as a centre forward alongside Luka Reichel and Bashir Mohammed, and sort of rotating him. And their lads just that's just a sensation up front. I think, in all honesty, it's down to a few things. So physical attributes help an awful lot on Football Manager, and as do mentals, as everybody knows. If you've got a player who's very physically good and mentally good, the technicals can be a little bit off. So his first touch is only 11, his passing's only 10. A couple of 12s, not great on his technicals, but because he's so mentally good and physically good, it sort of overrides them. You see, he's got 14 stamina, 14 strength, 14 fitness, 18 jumping, 17 balance, which I think is really good. Bravery 17. He's also got an aggression attribute of 50. And decent determination, really good decision making, really good leadership, really good off the ball, really good work rate. I think that helps him an awful lot, particularly the fact that he's 6'4" and his jumping, reaching, aggression, and bravery is so good. It means his heading doesn't matter. And if there's any way of looking at it, can we have a look at his stats? Most of his goals are headers. So headers won. 151 headers he's won so far this season. That is absolutely sensational. Most of his goals come from headers. It's just a case of we get the ball into the box and he's there. It's one of them. But yeah, that's how he's getting on. Fausto Vera has picked up 7 assists. We knew full well that £1 million was a snip for him. We've now added the trait of dictates the tempo. He does sit in that deep lying playmaker role and just spreads the passes about. I was going to add maybe long range passing or killer balls often, but I quite like the fact that he just keeps us ticking over. And you see he's got a 91% passing completion. If we look at his reports and his stats, does it show how many passes he's attempted? No, it doesn't. We'll do it in this way. Go on, we'll delve in straight away. Custom onto our key metrics. So Fausto Vera, who plays as our DM, you'll see passing wise, he completes about 56 passes per 90 minutes. The closest next to him are Jamie Lawrence and Mario Gila. Lyndon Bamber makes a lot of passes. I haven't shown you Lyndon Bamber yet. I will show you him a little bit later on. But the chances created per 90s, roughly one. You see our midfield. So the whole midfielder in Vera and the two wing backs are very, very creative. Key passes for all three of them is around 4, which is very, very good. Key passes in general, overall number of key passes made, Fausto Vera 69. That is the closest. That's the top of the team. The closest is again Ethan Laird and Luke Thomas. Assists 7 and then 3 each for the fullbacks. Clear cut chances created is 10 and 9 on both of the fullbacks. So you can see the idea that we've got is we get the ball into that home midfielder. He gets it out wide and then they get it into the middle. And it works, and it has been working very, very well until the patch, where they've patched a lot of things, including near post corners and just a few overall gameplay changes. So we'll have to tweak the tactic ever so slightly to be based around that. But what we really, really like is how much we get that ball into the box. Again, you have a look at the likes of Renberg and Becker. Those two are pretty much the starters. There's somebody else that we've signed to, which again you didn't see in the last video. He plays as the main central midfielder, and then these two rotate around. You see again about 13, 14 appearances each, both exactly the same age. Renberg is probably better going forward, which again his attributes would suggest. He's a better striker of the ball. He's got 14 technique, 13 finishing, really good determination, and again really, really physical and aggressive. That's what I like to see. He gets up and down the pitch. Is he wanted by someone? Did that say he was wanted? Oh no, that's just the Bremen badge. Yeah, he gets up and down the pitch. He's only scored 2 goals. He's got an XG of about 2.5, so he's slightly underperforming that. But both of his goals have been very, very good runs late, either late into the area or he just breaks the lines and gets in behind. And his finishing does leave a bit to be desired. I'm tempted to tell him to start placing his shots because he's got decent finishing technique and composure. Can we train him on that now? I doubt it because he's on holiday, isn't he? We're trying to get this away though. We run to the ball down the right hand side. He's not even playing on the right, so I don't know why that's a thing. But moves into the channels, gets him forward whenever possible, and cutting inside from the left wing is decent if we do play that position. But we don't. We may have to change the tactic. We'll have to see. But yeah, the pair of them are very creative. You can see where the majority of the creativeness. It's that midfield sort of diamond between the two centre mids, you've got the two fullbacks and then the DM, and it's sort of just it's that diamond, and then the 3 centre backs and the 2 strikers, they just do their job. You sit, you defend, you 2 go forward and you 2 attack, and that's why the tactic works so well. It's very robust, it's very solid. We have on occasion had to change it when we're trying to get the somebody like Johan Mina involved, but you see he's only played 180 minutes and is actually we've accepted offers for him, and we've decided to let him go. He wasn't playing. Although when he did play, a lot of key passes, and he did create a couple of chances, but just wasn't performing, and he's on high wage. What was his wage again? Something silly, 6.5 grand. Nah, bit rubbish. Yannick Dem, another one, who's on 10 grand. He's now finally got a bid on him too. We are slightly over wage budget, so those 2 going out does create the revenue that we need. So it's a winner. What we want to talk about then, we did have a few people leaving the club. If we click in the transfers and the transfer history, this episode are going to try and identify some targets that we want to sign, purely because you can see there's a few. We're trying to bring Juan Larios in on a free transfer. I think it just makes total sense. We're not going to be able to get Luke Thomas back. Juan Larios is a competent enough left wing back and at only 21 years of age. Coming in on a 12 grand a week contract makes sense. I'm happy with that. Callum Quirk's another one. He's a regen, Manchester United. He looked great, very physical, very, very mentally good. Technically, he's okay, but I think he could come in and then just go straight out on loan. We have already got Dingueno, who somebody pointed out in the last video I didn't show. He's coming in, again, 11.75k, resolute personality, very, very technical, really good physicals and really good mentals. You can see where I go along with my recruitment and what I look for. It's all pretty much of a muchness. Andrew Fisher's actually going out. We brought him in the summer as a backup goalkeeper. He was terrible, to be completely honest. He played 2 games, he conceded 2 goals, and both goals were his fault. They were awful. So he's gone out the door, but we are bringing somebody else in. If we click on the transfer history then, and we have a little look, there's 4 signings. There's 4 signings we'll have made since you guys last seen. starting with those guys, but we'll have a look at the outs first. So going out was Nicholas Schmidt. He left for £600,000. Lucas Klunter went to Augsburg for £5.75 million. Paul Seguin also went out for £5 million. But yeah, they were all a bit, they're all getting on. They all had high wages. We've got better players at the club now. I was fine. It made us almost 10 million, well, over 10 million. I'm happy with that. Nick Waltermaid went out on loan to Energy Cottbus. He's not developing. And Slavisa Milanovic went out on loan too. Looks like he could be decent. His personality is terrible, though. That's the biggest issue I've got with him. But we'll go for the transfers in then. So I don't even think you've seen Mario Gila, actually, either. Mario Gila came in from Eibar, £2.4 million, former Real Madrid Castilla player. Very, 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 very good. Performed above and beyond what we'd expect him to. 7.11 average rating. Yet to score, but really good jumping, reaching, heading. Again, you see the physicals and the mentals are pretty much what we look for. 25 years of age, absolutely in his pomp. He cost us 2.4 million. Easily could sell when he's 27, 28, 29, or keep him around. But that, you've got to have that thought process in your head. Next up then, Jacob Ramsey from Stoke, £2.2 million, rising to £2.7 million. My man left Aston Villa on this save for 900,000 to go to Stoke. Was doing okay in the Championship, but wasn't playing much this season. We cashed in a rising to £2.7 million deal. I really like him. I enjoy him. He can play a couple of different positions. He's got a lot of traits that I like. He runs the ball down the right. He gets forward. He likes it played into feet and he switches it wide. We do play him in this midfield role and we play him as an attacker mezzala because we want that flair and finishing. And you'll see he has actually scored a couple of goals. He's not got any assists yet though, but he has made 13 clear-cut chances in 10 games, which is just, it's a very, very good building block. It's just going to take him a little while. He has now just completed his German course. He's good at German. He probably needs to to learn a little bit more German, but that's one thing that people don't look out for. It does actually impact the game an awful lot. If your player can't communicate with the rest of his players, he's not going to perform well. That's one of the little things. Next in then, Lyndon Bamber from Fulham. Look at this kid. Look at him, revel in all his glory. And a 20-year-old English under-21 international. Again, physically and mentally sublime. So I don't care that his technicals are not good. And you will see at the bottom of the screen this side, 7.22 average rating. He is great. He plays as the wide centre-back on the left-hand side. He moves the ball to the left foot before attempting to dribble and he refrains from taking long shots. That is fine. But he does get up and down that pitch, which is very, very good. But he's got the physical and mental attributes to be able to get up and down and get back. He's brilliant. I'd love to keep him around. Probably not going to happen. He hasn't kicked the ball yet for Fulham. That might be one of the only things going in our favour, but it is what it is. And then there's two signings that have come in today, 1st of January. Backup goalkeeper being Lennart Moser. I believe when we played Regensburg, he had the game of his life, and I just had a little scout on him. They're basically saying he is good enough to be classed as like a first choice goalkeeper, but he was a lot better than the guy who's going out to Newcastle. And as a sweeper keeper, he's great. He's got really good technique and really good kicking too. Good throwing. He is the backup goalkeeper that we need. And I quite like having the option of two competent goalkeepers rather than one on one's a bit naff. I'd rather have two competent goalkeepers vying for position than sort of one who's all right and one who's crap. We need to speak then really quickly. Bartosz Bialek got recalled by Wolfsburg. He played 5 games for us. He didn't develop. He was terrible. Hansi Flick is the Wolfsburg manager. He's called him back. That's fine. I've got no problems with that. But it did leave us a bit short in the striking department. So we had a little look. We did our scouting. And we actually come up with former Brighton man, again from Wolfsburg, but Andy Zakiri. The Swiss international footballer can play either position out wide. He will play up front for us. 6'1", he places his shots, he tries tricks, which is good, and he cuts inside from the wings. He's quite got good flair, really good technical attributes for this division. Decent enough physicals, he's good in the air as well. He was an absolute no-brainer. He is going to start up front alongside Reichel and Papelka. He will probably start more than Reichel's doing at the minute. He's a good striker, Reichel, but he's just not performing, and I don't know whether it's the tactic, which doesn't make sense because he's played in this tactic before. You'll see he's got like a 7.1 average rating, which is fine, that's good, but it's not his goal scoring that's getting him that. He's got 6 goals. He's slightly underperforming his XG. He's got 3 assists. He's massively overperforming his expected assists. He basically just crosses it to Papelka and Papelka nods it in. That's essentially the tactic. Um, but yeah, I'll show you then really quickly. This is pretty much how we line up. If this comes and shows. Bamber, Gieler and Lawrence. Christensen, you can see Lawrence and Bamber have already formed a good enough partnership. Lawrence is normally in this position here, but we do swap it slightly with Gieler. Both of them can play the cover role because they are quick and good in the air. I prefer Lawrence though because he is quicker. It basically can just sweep up a lot faster, and they can't play it over his head because man's 6'7" with 18 jumping reach. But yeah, this is how we normally line it up. Renberg and Becker tend to swap. It's normally Renberg and Jacob Ramsey who play sort of in this role. We still play out of defence. We hit earlier crosses and we play a higher tempo, distribute to the fullbacks, and we counter and counter press, which is the Leipzig, the Red Bull way. And we play the higher line of engagement, higher defensive line. We press a bit more often, and we prevent the goalkeeper from passing it short. And that's it works. It works very, very well. It's starting to come away slightly in the offsets at the end of the first half of the season. I'm hoping that the winter break will help us. You can see the familiarity is pretty much bob on. It's only really the position role and duties that's slightly off, but that's more so Lawrence doesn't like playing as a cover. Luke Thomas doesn't want to be a wide player, and Papelka doesn't really want to be a striker. He's still not natural there. They still class him as a wide target forward. But that is what it is. Ethan Laird is coming on leaps and bounds. You'll see he's developing nicely. He's got a lot of assists. He just performs well every time he plays. Where is he there? 7.11 average rating. It's just nicely ticking over. And we've got a decent brigade of backup players. Obviously, Finn Becker is a backup player. It's still 25, got a bit of legs in him. We'll probably just keep him around for a while. He reminds me of a Leon Osman type player. He's just going to be there. We've got Bashiru Mohammed, who has only scored 2 goals, but he's getting better. He's now added the likes to beat offside trap. You see, he's got a lot of player traits. But again, keep him around. There's a potential to loan him out now that we've got Andy Zakiri in. I'm not sure that I want to try that. Will he like it? Will he kick off? Because if we can get half a season under his belt as a starting striker somewhere, and he kicks on, that's great because that impacts us. That's what we want. We want Bashir Mohammed to be one of our starting strikers. Anybody else who we need to look at? Joshua Dudok, we'll probably loan him out. We do now. Oh, he's wanted actually by Victoria Cologne. We do now have a development team. We have got Mannheim who are playing down one level below the third league. They got relegated the season before. His contract runs out in 6 months. I'm a bit concerned about that because I think he's a decent player to keep around. Andre Meshech. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce it. I've been saying Meshech, but it is what it is. He is sublime. His personality is still an issue. I go to him and try and say to him, "Oh, you played well in that game," and he just kicks off. But again, physical and mental monster. He is now a starting player for the Czech national team. He's played 4 games, including, if we have a look, will it show it? A game against England? No, it won't show it. Yeah, he played in a 1-1 draw against England. He picked up, I believe, a 6.9 average rating. And if we have a little look at the English team, to pick up a rating that good, it's just sublime. Roberto Mancini now their manager. But if we have a little look at their team, Mason Greenwood, Raheem Sterling, Jadon Sancho, Foden, Bellingham, Rice, Chilwell tomorrow, Reece James at centre-half, you scumbag. Wow, he's very good on this. Trent Alexander-Arnold and Aaron Ramsdale in goal. To play the way he did in that game is just, I'm more than happy with that. Let's have a look at the 2025 fixtures. Where is it? Czech Republic, they drew 1-1. Foden scored the goal in that match. If we click on Czech Republic, we can have a little look and see what average rating he did get in that game. 2025, England down at the bottom. 6.9. A 6.9 average rating against that England team. Sweet. You are developing nicely. Another issue we ironed out was Direct Papelka actually had a 775k release clause in his contract. We have since renewed that. There's no release clause in that contract whatsoever. If someone wants him, you're paying us big money for him. We have also introduced a few youth players into the team. We've got Franco Talagube. Again, not technically great, but I quite like his physicals and his mentals, which has meant he's played in rotation. He's started 2 games, I believe. Started 2 games, come off the bench off 1. 6.7, bang on your average rating, that's fine. Mike Baum started in the cup game, which we lost. Again, physically fantastic, mentally quite good as well. But he did get sent off in that game, hence the 6.1. And Ardit Lelshi, I think he's a striker, but his finishing's terrible. But we do play him as a striker. Again, 6.4 wasn't great. And then this guy is just like a bit of an anomaly. Likayan is a Brazilian centre-back who come through our academy. You'll see there, straight to Bremen. Either-footed, not the most physical, is pretty good at everything technically, not the most mentally there. But can play a few different positions and has played a few different positions. But we're trading him as a wide centre back, and we'll see how he gets on. But I think he's one to keep an eye on. But if we just skip forward a day, basically what I'm hoping to get out of the next transfer window and going through to the rest of the season, we need to now. We've got the core of the team. We've got Sakiri and Papelka. They're probably going to be our 2 starting strikers next season. What we don't want is to be shoehorned into just buying players for the sake of it. We've got a lot of youth players coming through. We've got a few youth players coming into the club. We've got 2 very good goalkeepers. We've got a procession of centre-backs who are good enough. We'll probably try and get Bamber back in on loan. But we need more in the middle. Ramsey, Remberg, Becker are really the only 3. We don't have a holding midfielder to back up Tavira, so we need to find a deep lying playmaker type of player. We more than likely need to find a better ball carrier as well. We do have Ramsey, but someone who can, if need be, just sort of turn it on a little bit and has got a bit more vision, maybe a bit more flair, just a bit of audacity about him. So that's the type of player we're going to look to sign. Maybe not in January, but we can try and identify them now. And I'm hoping that you guys are going to stay along for that while we try and identify that type of player. So if we click on the scouting centre, an agent has actually offered us this guy, Rafael Baez, saying that he, again, the language mark, and again, might have a problem with injuries and he has work to do in the heading department, but he can play a couple of positions. He's got really good balance and agility. That's what we were saying. He matches new signing philosophy. His ability to do the unexpected is very, very good. And he's very determined. This could be a win-win situation here. Mentally is an absolute beast. Wow. Mentally is very, very, very good. Really good vision. Decent enough passing, but really good technique. Physically is probably okay too. He was playing for Colo Colo. He's wanted by Chelsea, Liverpool. Let's try and sneak in there. I think we go for him. I hate this when they ask to do shit like that. Go away. I think we go for him. Big time. Let's offer him 10. Let's offer him 10 or 12k. Let's go for 11. 11 and a half. There we go. Get rid of that. Minimum fee release clause for clubs in a higher division at 10 mil. Hopefully we get promoted, so that doesn't matter. Not getting an appearance fee and not getting an unused substitute fee. Because if we can sneak in there before one of those big teams, we've pretty much sorted out that ball carrying midfielder. Yeah, that's boxed if we do that. What we want to have a look at then, rather than going into like the tableau stuff, which I know a lot of you sort of followed me for in the early stages of the channel, I'm trying to keep that away from this series. Although I love it, I think it's great. I think it's a very, very useful thing to do on Football Manager, and it's very close to what would happen in real life. I'm trying to keep it away from the save, and I'm just trying to use, like we did with the West Ham save, like the data analysts and the scouting staff. There's a reason we've got very, very good scouting staff and data analysts is because they need to identify these players. So I'm not going to be using Tableau on the save, which is why you've not seen it to this point. But I just thought I'd address that now before someone suggested it. But we're going to go based on who's been scouted and whatnot. I mean, Louis Sibley, former Derby County man, just his wages would just be astronomical. You got this guy as well, Lucien Agume. What a tank! He'd be a great holding midfielder. Again, the wages would absolutely kill us though. He'd be an unbelievable holding midfielder, the Cameroonian. Wow. Who scouted him? Can we find out? Peter Carwer give us his data analysis from the brush because he's not that good. Dennis Carl, so our assistant manager scouted him, but again, it's fine. We trust him. He's got good attributes for it. Oh, could we try and get him on loan till the end of the season? Optional future fee of 4 mil. Let's try that. That's awesome. He looks very good. That's that again. What I do is I don't sit there and look at the scouting centre. When you get the emails through, I just acknowledge, get rid of them all, and then I'll have a look through in the transfer windows or close to the transfer windows, or even if I'm just thinking, oh, I might need a striker, which is how Zakiri popped up. When Bialek went, I thought, okay, well, we need another striker, so we had a look, and he was on here at the top of the list. It makes sense to do it that way to me. Um, a lot of cheap options here. There's this Miguel Sanchez guy. No, no, he's a one trick pony. That guy. So yeah, we need someone who can play holding midfield or centre mid, and we're just going to highlight what we want in this. Is we want technique and passing. We want a bit of vision. They need to be like physically decent as well. So we're going to do all that. Good composure, decent anticipation and aggression as well. And we'll pop that on 14, and then we'll just try and match a few, maybe drop it down one. So 4 players have popped up straight away. So there was that guy. There was Lucien Agamu, who we think is pretty much a decent enough signing. Mamadou Koulibaly, we did try and sign last season, but he didn't fancy it. He probably would come to us, but he's playing for Frankfurter in the division above, so he's going to have to be a no. It's the undervalued players that I quite like the idea of. So this scout report was completed today. So it's Zayadu Yusuf, who is playing for Lorient. Again, gets forward whenever possible. He rounds the keeper. He tries tricks and he likes to play into his feet. That's a ball carrying type player that we were interested in. So they're saying he doesn't cover a lot of distance. He doesn't tackle or intercept. He's not very inconsistent. Oh no, you can't look at attributes when you've got stuff like that. I'm afraid, Zayadu, it's not you. Then next up, then is a 29-year-old Chilean, Pablo Galdanes, who do you think between 1.6 and 3.4 million pounds? His heading ability is not great. Again, the language and whatnot will be an issue, but he's adaptable, he's resolute, he's brave, he works well in a team. Deep lying playmaker, defends, 14 vision, 13 passing, really good technique. Very physical again. He plays 1-2s. I think we add him to a shortlist. Let's God, I've still got my January 22 shortlist. Shortlist. We want to add a new one. Uh, new shortlist. and we want Bremen. We do still have some players from like Leifering and whatnot knocking about that I see every now and again. So we're going to pop you into the Bremen shortlist for 1 year. And we have actually changed part of this video. Our director of football, we brought in Christian Speakman from Sunderland. Very good negotiator, very good at spotting a talent as well. Really good, professional personality. He's actually doing the youth intakes now as well, purely for the personality. Speaking of, we did get a really weird youth intake. I mentioned it on Discord yesterday. Click on our youth candidates. It's an excellent intake, apparently. It's a terrific group of players with the potential to be a golden generation. There's like 2 fullbacks, 2 strikers, goalkeeper. They're saying is decent. C centre backs, 3 of them. So I'm hoping that he's brought through like at least one really good player purely for his professionalism and he's a very good head of youth development. But we let him do a lot of negotiating on transfers, which is why he was brought in. You can see we've got the best in the division pretty much in every aspect. So yeah, we'll have Galdanes to that. Let's nudge it down to match 10. And you see we've got a few more popping up there. Kobe Mino again is popping up. We noticed him in the last video and I said he's very Paul Pogba. He really reminds me of Paul Pogba. Tom Lepant he looks like a good player. I've seen him a few times. He's popped up on a few of the intakes, the scouting reports. He would cost a fair bit. We don't have the money for that. I wonder if the board would actually improve our transfer budget. We've got a lot of money. You probably won't. I mean, they probably won't. But again, we've got 12 mil in the bank. It would make sense if they give us a bit more. But again, he's not necessarily a DM. He's more of a CM. But he could train there. I like the idea of him, but Montreal have put an offer in for him. Let's add him to the shortlist. If we get a transfer budget increase, we'll have a little go, see if we can get him in. Manu Kone is wanted on loan, playing for Gladbach, £6.4 million. We've used him in previous saves. He's more of an attacking player for me. He reminds me a lot of Christopher Nkunku, actually. Like an awful lot of Christopher Nkunku. He's just not very creative. So we're not going to go for Kone then. Kobe Mino, plays 1-2, takes tempo, looks for passion, attempting to score. He's just the English Pogba, this kid, to me. Again, Roman playmaker. Can we compare him to Pogba? Let's do that. Pogba. He's still at Man United? Oh, that's about with a H, Matt. He is still at Man United. Compare with Kobe Mino. They're very similar, you know. They're really similar. Roman playmaker, they were saying. 13-13, 18-15, 13-13, 19-13, 18-14, 15-12. They're very, very, very similar. I really like the idea of Kobe Mino. What's his report saying? It's going to be too much. We could loan him in. We could try and loan him in to, just to do the back end of last season. Let's go back and see that actually. So compared to what is Graph saying? So compared to the Premier League 2, he creates the most key passes. His passing percentage is good. His possession loss pen 90. So he's performing below average in key statistics for a creative role. But if we were to put him as a DM, there you go. What was his? He plays 1-2. He dictates the tempo. Tackling of 1. He is literally Paul Pogba. But as a progressive player, yeah. Okay, let's try and loan him in then. They shouldn't have an issue. Why are you not letting him? Okay. Stupid. Let's add him to the shortlist for a year. Let's keep an eye on him. That is silly, man. We've just changed it up. We've dropped the attribute range to 13, and then we've upped the matching to 11, I believe. Oh, to 12 and then to 11. Should we match it more? How many do we get? 18, 19 players. What was the 13? Okay, now I might be getting somewhere. Okay, so we've got Vicenzo Mirigi, who's oh my goodness, he's a regen playing for Bayern Munich 2. They think he's an attacking central midfielder. He comes deep to get the ball though, so I think if you had him as a deep lying playmaker, he'd be quite good. What's the report saying? His heading's an issue, and he needs to be a bit more consistent. But if he was to be playing in rotation with Vera, maybe he's just like a backup to the end of the season. That might be quite good. He's on 30 grand a week at 18. That's mad. Got him from Hanover. We'll add him to the shortlist. Again for the year. And keep an eye on how he develops. Why has my recruitment package gone? Oh, okay. Anyway, we've looked at these guys. There's Batista Mendy. Looks at the pass, tries to play us out of trouble. He doesn't use his weak foot. He doesn't dive into tackles, and he won't take long shots. They're saying he's a centre back. Was he playing for Nantes? He did play for Nantes, yeah. He can play centre back, actually. He is loan listed. Can play in that holding role. What's his report saying? His agent fee and his language, and that's it. Everything else is fine. What about was a loan offer? Would they want wages? This is the only thing with January, man. They just want silly money in January. It's definitely been like implemented into the game this year. And then sort of the last backup option is Paul Okoku. Okoku? DM, but he gets forward whenever he can. He's listed as surplus to requirements. But just the idea of playing a DM and maybe pushing Vera up the pitch could help. We did that a lot with SV Reed. We played Labajic in that holding role a lot and pushed people further up the field from there. Don't like the fact he gets forward, but it might add a different dimension. Let's try that. Let's try and get a Coco on loan. Again, just till the end of the season until we figure out, sort of what we're looking for and who's going to help progress the team a little bit more. It's a hard sell. It really is. Let's have a look at the analyze then. Let's see if there's anyone else who we may not have picked up looking at the scout reports. See, this is where I get a lot of my youth players from, Like this guy, he's going to be a regen, isn't he? Yeah. I mean, look at him. He's out of contract. Again, he's a striker. He's not a winger. Although he can cross, he's a striker. This is why, I mean, I'm a big advocate, and you all know this, of using the data analysts well. Nobody seems to do it. I've not really seen any other YouTuber doing it. I'm not going to complain. It's, it helps me with my saves. Let's add age into that category. Let's auto size. Oh, there we go. But look at the average age of like the top 5 players that they're recommending. The average age is about 80, well, it'll be 20. But look at that. Matondo, Belgian fullback, centre back. Donaghy Baja. And again, not massive amounts of money between them. There's this guy, 25-year-old goalkeeper, looks really, really good. Reckon we could get him for about 28k. He was fully scouted on the 21st of December. It's mad. I don't know why people don't use it. I really don't. He's out of contract. It's another free agent. Jay Stansfield, he did pop up. We did have a little look at him, but he's a no. Let's do new search then again. Let's look to DMs, specifically DMs. And just because they don't have a recommendation doesn't mean they're not good. Just to put that out there. It just means that they've probably not been fully analysed yet. They're saying again, Galdanes and Akuku are probably the best twos yet. My head went then. I thought that was Xavi Simons who played for PSG, but it's not. It's the ex-Brentford and Chelsea man who's playing for Port Vale. Quite interesting that they've recommended a Sky Bet League One defensive midfielder to us. I don't think he's bad though. Sorry, Sky Bet League 2. I don't think he's bad at all. Who else then? Let's have a little look. There's Armin Endres. He's a centre back. Wins a lot of the ball. He is 6'4", but again could probably play the defensive midfield role quite well. He's not been scouted. He's only been analysed. You can see all the stuff here is pretty much just technical attribute stuff. Not very consistent, so he's probably going to be a no. But it's a good little thing to know he's there. And then we've got Luka Caba, who is a deep lying playmaker. Tries to kill a balls, he dictates the tempo, he moves the ball to his right foot before attempting to dribble. 6 clear-cut chances created. What are they saying? He's created 6 clear-cut chances. He's won a lot of possession. He's got a lot of appearances under his belt, but he's not the best physically, essentially. I mean, it's 145k for a backup player. Attribute-wise, again, physically not the best, but I think technically and mentally he makes up for that. We're gonna put an offer in for him. I'm gonna put an offer in and just see what Christian Speakman can come back with. I mean, I know analytically they're not heavily set on him, but I think for the price, it'd be fairly silly saying no. Again, this guy is around 75k. Malik Jibril. There's a few good little players knocking up on here, you know. Very good that they're picking up a lot of cheap physicals and mentals. Technically not all there, but physically and mentally you can train technicals. That's the best thing. You can train technicals, physicals and mentals take a lot longer. This guy's out of contract. A grand. 1.5 you can have, and you're getting none of this nonsense. I don't mind that, because if he's playing, it's fine, and we'll get rid of that too. 2's fine. You're not getting that. I mean, Mike Denker. Happy with that. Physically and mentally great. Again, physicals and mentals. I love it. Amir Spitzer, who was playing for Vacca's under-23 junior Division C team, tries to play his way out of trouble. he looks decent again, you know. Especially with young players, I look at physicals and mentals an awful lot. I'm not too bothered about the technicals because, as I say, you can train technicals. It's not hard to train technicals. It's the physical and mental stuff that's the hardest to train into them. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with the guys we've identified. Let's just see if we can get anyone over the line. Bayern Munich are just horrible, aren't they? They've triggered an extension of Mike Denker's contract. Absolute scumbags. I mean, 50k is not bad. Tell you what, let's drop that to 40. And we'll do 6 installments of 100k, 16k each. And we'll change that to 30. Yeah, they're not going to say no to that. It's 140k potentially overall. But I quite like the idea of him. Again, really good personality, physically and mentally is brilliant. He's already got a really good first touch, a good technique, and good vision. I think we could actually train him to be a stellar little player, you know. So a few things have happened. We've now got to select a new captain. Mario Gila is going to be the captain, and we're going to give Derek Papelka the vice captaincy. Nikolai Ramberg might kick off. He's got a good enough personality. I think he might be fine. Inter have said no to us getting the Game. That's fine. We have made the offer for Luka Caba, and Baez is going to Manchester United. That's fine. That's fine. I didn't think we'd get him just based on who was in for him. I just thought we'd try and sneak in early. So our darling overlords have actually decided to give us a bit more money. We've now got £1.23 million worth of transfer budget. It's fine. It's not affected the balance. It's just allowed us to have a little bit more money, balancing the books ever so slightly. So why has Walter made a new deal? Anyway, yeah, again, this is essentially all I do with these is just click through. I don't tend to do any action on it until I have a little look at the scouting centre myself. I just don't like the way they give you that all the time. They should really only give you it sort of every 3 months or sort of every transfer window, but they give you it 24/7. It really frustrates me. So there it is then. Mike Denker has signed in, and they think he could probably make some sort of impact on the first team already. But I fully agree with that, and you can see Akuku has agreed to join on loan, just covering his wages at 70%. That's going to be the ins and outs for this window, I believe. I think Mike Denker being 19 and he's as good as it is, I think he starts as a rotation option coming in for Fausto Vera. I don't think he needs any more training for the youth teams. He doesn't need mentoring. He's got decent enough determination and a really, really good personality. I think he definitely plays as the backup DLP, and we'll just introduce him off the bench every game, every couple of games. Just let him get that, that what am I calling it? That experience. That's what I'm trying to say. And obviously we've got Paul Okoku who can play as the rotation option. So it's either Okoku and Vera to start, and then our man Mike Denker coming off the bench. But that's it. I'm going to leave that there. Again, not an exciting video. I'm really, really sorry. They're not quite exciting at the minute. We're just trying to establish ourselves. When we get to the Bundesliga, that's when it's going to start kicking off again. But thank you very much for watching. And as always, take care. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. Goodbye.